there are the estimated 2 trillion galaxies, that's 2 and 12 zeros, in the known universe. Known universe, we don't know what's outside where creation hasn't reached yet, okay? Or we don't know, we speculate on what's going on there. 2 trillion galaxies in the universe. And galaxies have between 100 and 200 billion stars a time. And our sun is one of the stars. And the universe is still expanding at the speed of light. The estimate is 292 or 300 billion light years across. Okay, so it's quite a big area. A lot of places, a lot of things, a lot of little galaxies. The Milky Way is about 13 billion years old, and our solar system is about 4.5 billion years old. So our solar system arrives at 4.5 billion years, and Earth sort of hits in at about 4 billion years ago. A lot of coincidences. Earth was not in its current position between Venus and Mars. It was between Mars and Jupiter, and got hit by another planet, Theia, which moved inside into the Goldilocks belt where it is actually turning now, where it is orbiting the sun now. And in that orbit, it is just such a lucky coincidence that it is, as I say, in the Goldilocks belt where water can exist in a liquid form, which is a necessity for life. Then comets come bringing water because it wasn't there, and the orbit was elliptical. There was precession. There was the axis was knocked off kilter in the movement, hit by Theia coming into its current orbit. So now the axis is off, it's got precession, which means it can create tides when water arrives. Water arrives later, boom, more comets come, bringing the amino acids, the building blocks of life. They hit here, there's a couple of extinction events and regrowth, which eventually leads us to being here, all right, to mankind. But mankind arrives, well, there's some estimations. They say hominids arrived about 300,000 years ago, which is quite interesting, actually, because that's what Zecharia Sitchin said, that for the Anunnaki created man about 300,000 years ago, which is a completely different line of thought. But we will come back to that because there are crossovers between the Holy Scriptures and Holy Doctrines and some of these texts from ancient civilizations. But 300,000 years ago, which throws completely out of kilter discoveries of artifacts that date back to 3.3 million years and 6 million years ago. That humanity have got artifacts, hammers and chisels and nonsense, and found in striations that were undisturbed. So there were layers of sediment and stuff that formed and dried up, boom, and this is right underneath here and wasn't disturbed, so people couldn't have dug it around and planted it. And these are these finds. But anyway, 300,000 years. Then they start going on. There's a whole lot of catastrophes, which we'll come back to. That is such an interesting part, especially the part from 75,000 years ago up until about 8,000 years ago. Anyway, so we come 300,000 years ago, hominid, we start walking upright for some reason or other. We start becoming more intelligent. We've got more than animals. We change our perspective of life, and we've got consciousness and free will, okay? Carry on, 30,000 years ago, we start burying our dead, apparently. That's what they find. But meanwhile, information from 30,000 years ago is extremely scant because something happened 12,000 years ago which destroyed the surface of the earth. So we can't find anything really much before 12,000 years ago. But anyway, piece of fine artifacts here and there. And finding that people were burying their dead, okay, in various places on earth, which means some kind of idea of their own mortality and consciousness. Move on for another 30,000 years. Things go mad. We get civilizations starting, the whole Akkadian, Sumeria there, Egypt, Zeptepi, the first thing. We don't know the time frames in South America, but they look to be within the same proximity of those of the pyramids, Göbekli Tepe, and all these places. And then religion, all religion, the axial of religion, starts 5,000 years ago, 3,000 BC, around there, 3,500 BC. The whole axial, all of religion was discovered 5,000 years ago. So that's equivalent to doing the Paris to Dakar rally and you reach the finish line, and the thin little, no, it's not even that small. It's ridiculous. We were the part of religion in the period of man, okay, is minute, that to govern the entire planet today, that religion, and this is where I started, has taken precedence over God, over a creator. The Bible is the word, which is more important than the creator. Well, it's perceived as that, or sold as that. This is the word, this is the word. We shouldn't doubt, we shouldn't question. So we will not question. So if it is wrong and there is a God, and he's looking down, if we'll get to the whole he issue later, but if he was looking down, our consciousness was aware of us doing, and we'll say, no, we don't want to do that because we're following this book. I am not knocking the book. The book, because it fits in. As you get to much later on to this discussion, you'll see how religion actually does fit into this equation once we understand the concept. Anyway, so these were these questions. It was such a small little fragment of humanity that has been religion. And before that, well, we know that there were other kind of gods. We know that there were the deities and stuff like that and before that, but we don't know much. Before 5,000, well, 3,000, well, 5,000 BC. 5,000 years ago, sorry. We don't know a hell of a lot. From there to 10,000, it is very, very sparse. There was something happened that killed us between that period and that. 10,000 and 5,000. But that does not discount the existence of God. That is not where it should come in. We are saying that the God should be, if it was a creator, that created before, he couldn't have been in hibernation and just disappearing. All those years, just boom, all of a sudden, 5,000 years. Hi guys, I'm here for the finale. It just didn't make sense, you know what I mean? So it means our understanding of the consciousness of creation was not sealed down.